Hey guys, welcome to episode 30 of the KFO show. Guys, we made it to 30 episodes. It's pretty exciting considering most uh, podcasts slash live show only make it 7 episodes. So I'm pumped. Guys, we got a good show for tonight. We got Tyler Gallagher from Southern Flow. We're going to be talking about fishing, moving water, creek fishing, and who knows what else. So if you love kayak fishing, fishing in general, guys, you're in the right place. I am pumped because we have over 700 listens an episode on the podcast. So if you're listening in from the podcast, which none of you are right now because it's a live show and I don't post it until tomorrow morning, thank you for listening in. I'm starting to hear some feedback coming over from the podcast. Some of you have told me, hey, I don't come to the live show just because I want something to do at work the next day. So if that's you, thank you guys so much. That puts the show at around, 12 to 1,300 listens an episode. So thank you guys so much. A couple of news announcements before I bring on Tyler. We got the Cast Crate giveaway tonight. Anybody becomes a channel member of Wendell Fishing, was the channel that hosts the KFO show. I go kind of the extra mile. I got 3 different tiers over there. Really my inner circle of dudes and girls who really just help out, have some conversations. They get sneak previews of my videos. I'm asking them a bunch of strategy questions. So if you're interested in that, hit the join button on, and I'd love to have you. And if you do become a member at any level, you get a $10 gift card to castcray.com. I highly recommend the Squarebillies or the Cast Crate Nubs. Those things absolutely slay. I had one this past week, so outdoors for a change. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Thanks for making this stuff happen. All right. Well, let's give a Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series update. I'm going to attempt something I usually don't do. I'm going to present my screen here. And let's go talk about. All right. Boom. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me see what we got here. All right. So I apologize because I forgot to bring up a particular screen that I should have brought up. But I'm doing that now. All right, so you guys can't see it. Great. I had to go over to my YouTube and check it out. All right, we're looking at May. So last month, look at the top 5. Tammy Sanchez bringing 98.25 inches. So she actually won last month's tournament. So that is the number 1 member of the team. There's 3 more spots available. So we got June kicking off, July, and the last one is August. So Tammy from New Hampshire, I am pumped to have you on my team. Greg Massa coming at 96.75 inches. Brian Slayton, the Creek Crawler, 94.5. Gramps, Fishing with Gramps, JT Hickman, 93.5. Beat me by a half inch, and I come in at 5th at 93 inches. Let's see what June is already kicking off. Greg Massa, 96.5. If you guys ever ordered anything from 3D Yak, that's Greg. So awesome. Makes a bunch of seat risers, all kinds of stuff. So check out 3dyak.com. I got 76.5 inches, but we got Bill Alton on my tail with 75.75. Tammy Sanchez, 72.75. And Brandon Christine at 70. And that wasn't like that like 10 minutes ago. So he's posting fish like right now. So pretty awesome. All right, let me head back here. If you are unfamiliar with the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, it's really an entry-level tournament where we are coming together. I'm doing 4 one-month tournaments, and it's $15. And if you sign up, you're automatically entered into a giveaway, which you're going to do later in the show. I got a randomizer, and someone's going to get a $100 gift card from castcray.com. So that's going to be awesome. So we'll do that sometime in the middle of the show. But what happens if you win one of those 1-month tournaments, you will win a spot on my team if you fish for Team Wendell. And we were going to go down after we get a total of 5 people who win those 1-month tournaments on Veterans Day weekend to Lake Gunnersville and Lake Wheeler down in Alabama. And we're going to fish against Team Chad Hoover, Team Fluke Master, Larry Melton Jr., who, by the way, is on the show next week. We're going to have the Aggressively Average Anglers, Fishing with Gramps, Clay Guida. Man, it just goes on and on. It's going to be a trip. And so if you're interested in that, head over to fishingchaos.com, find a tournament, and you can type in Knucklehead, and you can read all the details there. Love to have you on Team Wendell, but congrats to Tammy Sanchez. All right, guys, remember, this is an interactive show. So I want to bring on Tyler. Tyler, 400,000 views on YouTube. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me your story, right? I always love to start with stories because I'm always curious on how people like begin. Like a lot of people fish, right? But why did you start like filming it? And you got a unique kind of I don't know, flavor to your channels because you don't do a lot of talking. I've noticed. I'm going through a lot of your videos. It's just like you fishing. So tell me your story. How'd you get into it, and what's going on?
I probably had a YouTube channel started like when I was in high school, just, posted some stuff and, we fished a little bit. But, we jumped off some waterfalls when I was in college and just posting just random stuff, little short videos. I don't know. I got started, kayak fishing and setting up the kayak fishing for filming and had a GoPro. Always enjoyed GoPros. I did time lapses like of the stars and put it to music. And we were rolling hay one day and did a time lapse of that. I always liked time lapse stuff and just playing with the GoPro. And then started doing more and more fishing on the kayak and upgraded the GoPro. Got two right now. I've got two Hero 7s that I film with, and the mounts and everything that goes along with it, and just really enjoyed just kind of capturing the fun of being out in the middle of nowhere, and you catch good fish, and you got 2 or 3 videos you can make off of that. As far as not talking, I've been working on that some, but every time I talk, I you go back and watch yourself, and I have this weird laugh that I do sometimes, and I like to poke fun at myself. So I'll post videos making fun, or if I tripped over my paddle a couple weeks ago
I
and
saw
about
that.
lost a fish in the water. So um, just always been interested with filming somewhat. Never like really good at it, but always enjoyed documenting stuff. I do some videos at work. We do at the Frito-Lay plant. We made some videos for regional meetings and stuff like that. So always been involved with that, and flying drones and all that kind of stuff. All the tech stuff. I've always had a good time doing that, and just kind of incorporated it with my love for fishing, especially kayak fishing, creeks and rivers.
Nice. Well, I see that you got like a fan club over here. Itchin' to Fish, which by the way, Itchin was my number one guest on the KFO show. Like number one. And you were on listening in the first show, and you were the king of the waterfall. You even have one like beside you. You like
I've
sleeping
got
that
all
thing at
kinds of
night.
I've got all kinds of props sitting over here for whatever comes up, just to show everybody. But
I love it. Grace Kelly. Let's go, Tyler.
hey, Grace.
Tennessee Rock says Tyler's a man, and this must be a buddy of yours. We like to poke fun at you too.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, your wife's even on the night. Look
Yeah,
at
she's
that,
watching from practice, I think.
Ike. Man, you got the people on the night. This is great. I love it.
Well, I sent it to like everybody I knew and everybody I met since we talked and set this up. So anybody I talked to, I was like, hey, by the way.
Come listen to me talk about fishing. No, this is great. So, do you like the journey? I mean, I've noticed that in some of your shorts videos, you do some videos in response to troll comments. How is
My
that? How has that been? If you're not out there putting yourself out there, anytime you put yourself out there, someone is going to be coming at you hot for whatever reason, right? Just because you're putting
it
yourself
makes
out there.
I love it. It makes great content.
There
I
you
had a
go.
guy I had one guy tell me my power pole was a waste of money. Um, and so then I had another video, and I'd already had it made up, not for any particular reason, as a draft. And it was like the color grading, and it was kind of black and white, and then it turned to color and went slow motion. And I just commented back, said, "You mad, bro?" And put that on there. It was perfect. I had another guy a couple weeks ago. We were fishing, and I got a whopper plopper hook in my hand. It's
Oh,
actually the one I had to cut off right there. You probably can't see it because of my background, but
right. There you go.
I had to cut
Oh,
that one off out of my hand. Luckily, my buddy was with me, but he commented something like, "When you don't know how to handle a fish," and I was like, "Okay." So the fish I caught was like an 18.5 inch smallmouth, and I got a
dang,
video holding it up in the
dang.
camera. And I said, "You sure about that, bro?" And had the little meme of that, and then he commented back again. And so then I had a video where I reach up and kind of grab one from the back like I normally do. The issue I had was I was kind of turned to the side a little bit, and he just got loose on me. And it's going to happen eventually, but it wasn't too
It's
bad.
gonna happen, right? I mean, something's gonna happen. The hook's gonna get in your finger. It looks like it was past the barb if you cut it off. Is that correct?
At first it wasn't, and then he flopped again and pulled it through, so I didn't have to do.
Oh,
So, it
nice.
wasn't too
All right.
bad.
So really quick, you haven't had a hook through your hand, like to the degree where it's past the barb, you can't pull it out. So you pushed it through.
The fish pulled it through, but I could have pushed it through if I needed to. That was the plan until he flopped again and pulled it all the way through, and I just
Hey,
had
you
to
know
cut it.
what? He made it easy on you, right?
Exactly.
Said you didn't do it yourself. He just, ripped the band-aid off. Oh, I love it. All right, so let's get into kind of the meat of tonight. I brought you on the show because for whatever reason, the Instagram algorithm shows me everything that you do. It's either one of two things happening. One, you're posting like every day, which
Yep.
could be possible. And two, basically Instagram's like, hey, Darren loves kayak fishing and you post kayak fishing shorts. So let's show Darren every single day. And I love them. You're just cruising down some pretty quick water. And like you have to cast and catch and retrieve and land quickly, right? Because you got a ton of obstacles. I'm surprised that your GoPro sticking out the back of your kayak doesn't get ripped off by every branch. Like I rip it off and I'm just slowly fishing the banks. And I actually ripped off one of my Yak Attack boomsticks. The whole thing just broke and GoPro went in the water and everything. So let's hop into kind of the nuances of kind of fishing moving water, starting with kayaks. So I don't fish moving water too often, but first start with how many kayaks have you owned? I noticed that you have a bona fide RS 117 in some of your recent posts. So let's start there. Let's start with kind of river specific kayaks. So that's your main thing, right?
Yep, for the most part. Yep.
All right.
So, just to tell you how much a nerd I am, I have a spreadsheet
Of what?
of kayaks that I've owned. 37.
37?
I've had 37 kayaks.
Jeez.
Starting when I was in college, we got our first one. Me and my college roommate, Ethan, and he found this deal on Marketplace, or I don't even, it was Craigslist at the time. It was before Marketplace was around. And we got those, and then I sold those to a family friend that had a pond that I used to fish.
Okay.
And then I sold that one to them, and they ended up moving away and giving it back to me. So I sold it and then got it back for free. So that's one good deal I've had.
Yeah, one out of. So what about the other 36? And really quick, TNC, he has more kayaks than his wife wants him to have. I can promise you that.
Yeah. I got one for every day of the week right now, except for Sunday.
My God.
I've only got 6 right now, but I sold one a couple weeks ago.
Aubrey is there's her thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a big running joke with a lot of our friends. But I've had Old Town Vapor 10s. I've probably had 3 or 4 of those. The Wilderness System Ride 115 was my first like nice kayak. I've probably picked up 4 or 5 of those here and there.
Oh, hold on. Are you like a broker of kayaks? Do you like buy and sell, or are you actually buying for yourself?
I buy to try, but also I'll find a good deal, and I've made some pretty good profits. I've got that in the spreadsheet here, but I'm not going to share the exact information. But
all right, so you're making money on this.
I make
$100,
$200 on a kayak. The best thing to do is find a guy who's having a back surgery that loves to fish. He's having a back surgery. It's happened to me 3 or 4 times.
How do you find a dude that's having back surgery?
They post it on Marketplace, and then you just get to chatting with them and talking about how cool it is, and then you go to get it, and I was like, "Why are you selling this thing?" "Oh, I got to have a back surgery or shoulder surgery. I'm not going to use it for a while." So
there you go.
It's been good. I would say the 2 best deals I got a Hobie Outback with a depth finder for $1,500. Yeah. And I sold the depth finder for, I think, $600. So I have $950 in a Hobie Outback.
Okay. And you can sell that for twice, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
And I actually have a Garmin LiveScope set up on it. I don't get to use it very much. I've used it a few times, but it's kind of a nice luxury, and kind of played around with it some. I went with a guy, my cousin actually, and I sat in the back of the boat and watched him play video games all day and catch fish, and I just casted where he casted with the live scope.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he was fishing on live scope up on Chickamauga, and I sat in the back of the boat, and it was like watching him play video games all day because he just stared at the screen.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. That once you get that thing, your head's just on the screen the whole time.
Yep.
Which for that reason alone, I don't think I would love it.
It's pretty neat to watch them move underwater and follow the bait and stuff. If you're the one up on the front of the boat, but when you're in the back, it's you just kind of follow what they do and hope you get one. So
Yeah.
but it's pretty neat. It's definitely a luxury. I don't use it on the creeks that I mostly fish, but if I go to a lake, we have a lake system up in north of where I live, Williamsport Lakes. There's 4 lakes on TWRA, Tennessee Wildlife Property, and you can get a permit and fish out there. I've gone out there a few times. They've got crappie and bass and bluegill. But
So where do you live?
I live
Obviously
in
Tennessee, but where?
Columbia, Tennessee. Let's see if I can do this. It's not going to show it, but right there's the Duck River. It runs right through Columbia.
For those on the podcast, literally pointing to the middle of Tennessee.
Yep, about an hour south of Nashville.
There you go. All right, which is blowing up, by the way. Everybody's moving to Nashville. It's crazy.
Yep.
All right. So all these kayaks, how many do you have right now? Now you've owned 37.
6.
6. Where do you store these things? You have like a pole barn with these things?
I've got a shed that I've got 4 in. I've got 2 on a trailer in the garage.
All right. Now I hear you. Like I got my truck outside and then my kayaks in on the trailer because my kayaks are worth more than my truck.
Do you use your trailer much? Is that typically how you travel with it?
It is. I mean, because I have a bona fide P127, so it's almost 13 feet long. I could put it in the back of the truck, but I have a Chevy Avalanche and has one of the swing gates you can put down, making an 8-foot bed. But it's easier just to hook it up.
Yeah, I typically just put mine in the truck bed unless I have more than 3 people. And I've got a little wooden rack system I built for my truck, so I can fit 6 if I need to. I've got the trailer. I just don't really mess with it much. The one other good deal I got is there was a guy selling 2 bona fide 127s.
Ooh.
And I bought them both for $1,500 and sold them each for $1,500.
Jeez. So this is like essentially, for those of you who don't want to like do the whole YouTube thing and make money that way and to pay off your fishing addiction, flip kayaks.
It was really good 2020, 21, 22, 22. Everybody was going out getting them because there wasn't anything else to do.
Right.
And then they just didn't love it as much as I do, I guess, and just got rid of them. So that was I drove to Georgia and got a new canoe Frontier with the amped outdoor 60 amp hour battery, trolling motor, trailer for like $1,300.
Nice.
Just scooted all the way down past Chattanooga down into Georgia about 45 minutes after work one day. So it's a hobby, finding a good deal. It's exciting, gives you a little rush.
For sure. It sounds like I should have had your wife on the show tonight because she is like lighting up the comment section. Or take your kids with you. That was from a little bit earlier.
When I asked you the question, I take the kids.
I know. I've seen the videos of it. Aubrey said, whenever I asked you, where do you put all your kayaks? Your wife says everywhere.
Yeah.
Bold. This is great. I love it. Gramps is like, I lived the trailer life. Gramps, you lived the trailer life a couple weeks ago when you ripped the leaf and axle apart. You ever get that fixed, brother? All right, let me see what we got here. Oh, you got some people wanting some merch. Is that something? A couple people have.
I need to have some made.
Mention of that.
Sure.
Oh, there it is. That's a solid color. I like it.
Yeah, so my buddy made these for me, and I just need to order some hats. I'm thinking if I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will make some hats and give some away.
Now, I've thought about, I've told myself whenever I hit 20,000, I'll do a merch line. But I still have yet to figure out what type of merch line because no one wants to wear like a Wendell Fishing logo. So at least I don't think so. I don't know. I'd be surprised. There's a lot of things I'm surprised with on this. Fishing with Gramps answering my question. Yes, fixed it. Video of it live today. I'm proud that Gramps that you're actually just putting out videos because I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks. So welcome back, my friend. I talk to Gramps or text him or call him or write him like every day. So he's about my end. All right, so let's hop into kind of a secondary question. The theme of the show tonight was kind of kayak fishing, moving water. A lot of those that you mentioned are river kayaks. What's your favorite like river kayak? Right.
Right now, it's the Bonafide RS 117.
Yep.
I really want to try RVR 119.
Yeah.
And I think they're giving one away. That's one of the reasons I signed up for this tournament. Is if I weighed in 5 fish, I was entered into a drawing for a Bonafide RVR 119, if I'm not mistaken.
I got
No?
bad news for you. You signed up for the wrong team.
Ah,
See,
was that only Chad's team?
yeah, it's only Chad's team. So I would imagine the competition's a little stiffer
Yeah,
over on
for
that
sure.
end.
Yeah.
I got a lot more Northeast kayak anglers. And so, I mean, I've seen some numbers like the 110s, 113
Yeah.
inches on the board, which is kind of crazy. But I'm doing a $100 gift card giveaway. But Chad's and maybe Fluke Master are putting up kayaks from Bonafide, being that we're
That's
kind
what
of
it was
connected.
then. They conned me into joining, but I joined Tim
Ugh.
Wendell, so. But
And then you
I do want to try the RVR 119. Eric's got a Crescent Shoei. We're going Thursday. I might have to let him let me ride it for a little while and see what I like. But that 117 is the perfect. I've had the the Bonafide 127s. It's too big. I had a 107. It's too small, and it's like Goldilocks. The 117 is just perfect for what I do. It's just right.
nice. So let's kind of enter into the next kind of level. We're talking to kayak fishing, moving water. Because I was watching some of your videos and you had some sweet mods on it. So let's talk about kind of your favorite top 5 mods for the river.
Top five. Number one for the river is the power pole. It's the most expensive rock you could ever buy because that's basically what an anchor is, right? It's a rock. So I'm the dummy that paid $600 for a rock, what to do the same thing a rock could do. But having I've actually got it here. Maybe it'll show up. No, that background's messing me up.
There you go. Put it in front of your shirt. We're good. Oh yeah.
But
But you
this
you
mount,
like ripped your kayak apart for this show. I love it.
no, it comes apart super easy. It just unscrews right here. This rod slides out, and then you take it out, and you can pull your kayak up the bank and then carry this up. Is what I typically do. Um, a lot of people don't like these because of overhanging trees. They're worried about hitting trees or bridges. But if you'll go watch Indie Yak Angler, and I need to make one because that's the reason I bought this after I watched this video. There's a locking switch right here,
Yeah.
and so you tighten it up, and so when it drives the stake down, it doesn't pivot. But if you come up on a tree, you attach a pull cord to it. You pull that pull cord and you hit the button to drive it down, and it'll lay it over on its side, and you can kind of set it over your shoulder and go under whatever you're getting ready to go.
Man. Well, there you go, folks. So what are that's a
Uh,
micro pole. Those poles come in 6 feet and 8 feet, correct?
6 feet, 8 feet. Yep. I'm typically in shallow creek water, so I
Right.
got the smaller pole. I have a bigger pole. I actually have a video where I caught it on a branch, moving at a pretty good pace, and it flexed way back and then kind of flopped on me a little bit, scared me a little bit. But
Yeah.
um,
Itchin Itchin said you talked me into that expensive rock, and
so
he loves it. So
last year, I brought an extra one with me because I had two because I'd got one on a kayak deal. Not to go into that again. Um, and I was like, hey man, you really got to try this. Like because that's the reason I found him was he fished very similar to what I did. And so I just messaged him out of the blue. I was like, hey man, come to Tennessee and go fishing with me. And strangely enough, he did. And we had a great time. And we've gone the last 2, maybe 3 years together.
okay.
I told him, I was like, you got to get one of these because it's perfect for what you do. And so I had an extra one that I had gotten on some deal I'd made, and I sent it with him to Arkansas. And he said, "Oh, I'll pay you for it." And I said, "Dude, just try it out. If you don't like it, we'll fish next year, and you can bring it back, or you can mail it to me. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal." And sorry, my phone went off on me. And he took it home, and apparently he loved it. And about 6 months later, sent me some money after he'd used it and that kind of stuff. But no, he got it. Me paid for it. One of the funny comments I got is it has this remote on it.
Yeah, I've seen that around your neck.
Yep. So one of the funny comments I got was I caught this fish and I was freaking out about it, and some guy commented and said, "Dude's so excited about fishing he has to wear life alert."
I know where
I
that was
thought
going.
that I laughed so hard at that's my life alert bracelet. So whenever I had a heart
Uh,
attack from catching a big smallmouth.
I love it. I've seen those. My buddy Nathan, who I fish with sometimes up here in Northeast Ohio, he has it, but he had it like wired into his kayak. So he like pushes the button down
Yep.
here. So that's an option. A lanyard is an option. Nice. Ever getting yourself in trouble with that thing?
I've had it has a battery pack that presses into it, and I was just talking to Eric earlier today about it, and I've had some issues. Every once in a while, it'll like get disconnected, and I'll have to pull the pull cord, lay it down, get to the bank, and then unplug it and plug it back in. But that's just been recent, and I've probably had it for probably 4 years. So
Okay.
it might be the battery, it might be the unit. I'm not sure, but it's totally worth it. The big thing that allows you to do is when you're fishing in current and you come up on a rock or a tree or that juicy spot, you might only get one cast at it
Mm-hmm.
because the current's going to blow you by it. But I can come up to something and make a cast, and if one blows up or if I see something coming up, I double click that button and I can stop. And I've got some videos in pretty swift water, like so fast it's coming up through the scupper plugs. The
So
water's rushing.
I saw this today. I was looking at your, I think it was your Instagram. No, it was YouTube. It's all your shorts. You posted all the shorts, and you literally. What if you guys haven't seen these in action? Water's moving pretty fast, like you said. He hits his life alert, then goes down. He casts, and boom, he catches it. I mean, and you might not have had that chance if you just kept on rolling down the river. Right?
I've had several videos where it takes that second or third cast coming across the tree that's slightly under the water, that you would have been a quarter mile down the river before you got to cast that second time.
Yeah.
Or if you hang up in a tree and you're in swift current, it's really good to be able to stop and kind of assess the situation and see if it's something you're able to get in there and get out of. And sometimes you just have to cut your line, break your line, and call it a loss.
So Itchin said, "Yeah, you talked me into that expensive rock, and I like it." And then he said, "Took me 50 payments, but he finally owns it." I mean, those things are what, 6 to 8 new?
Yeah, 600 to 800 with the pole, with the battery. You know how everything is. They accessorize it and stuff. And I don't think I've ever bought anything new though. It's all been secondhand stuff.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right, let's move on to the little next section here. So now, walk a noob. I would imagine that a lot of the people watch this show may be interested in creek fishing, maybe even done it a few times, maybe some slower water. But walk a noob through kayak fishing, moving water. Because I've noticed some of your no, you have you fish a bunch of different creeks and rivers. Some are really slow, and you're just paddling kind of through some skinny water, but some are like moving pretty quick. And so, first let's talk about kind of moving water and safety. Like, what do you think about? What have you learned maybe through YouTube, and what have you learned through like the hard way? Hit me.
Life jacket. I get a lot of people asking me like, "Hey, why are you wearing a life jacket? You're in like 6 inches of water." Number one is I take my kids and they have to wear theirs, so I'm going to wear mine.
Heck yeah.
And I have not always been this way. I'm a very good swimmer. I've swam my whole life, some competitively through high school and stuff like that. But when you're in swift water, and it's only knee deep water, it can push you down into a tree before you can catch your grip on your feet. Like if it's a slick rock and you get swept away, Eric dislocated his shoulder in maybe 5 foot of water, and had his on.
We heard that story. That was a good story. If you want to hear that, head back to episode number 1.
Yeah. So always wear your life jacket. Whenever you're fishing moving water, because you can't see underneath that moving water, even though it's only a couple feet deep. You never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of trees down and stuff like that. Number 2 is just always look ahead. If you see a tree down and you think you can get to the side of it, kind of proceed with caution, because you never know what's on the other side of that tree that you can't see. Strainers and with a tree in the water or a tree hanging over the water, sweepers and strainers. On any creek, there's always going to be slow sections and there's always going to be some rapid sections just on the round curves. And you really get a feel for how to maneuver your kayak sharply, whether you reach out to the side and pull back for a sharp turn versus just a forward stroke. All those things. I do some stuff around trees down and I've got some videos where I kind of scoot over them. One's the Rooster Booster video. I don't know if you've seen that one. It was one of my first ones.
All right.
But just going over trees and keeping your eyes downriver, life jacket. That's the biggest thing. Knowing your limits, I think. So if you've never done it before, you're probably not capable of doing some of the things that I could do, and I'm not capable of doing things that somebody who whitewater kayaks every day is going to do. So know your limits, and I very rarely go alone. It's always good to have a buddy, and if you have a buddy or two, designate who's going to be first, second, and last, and try not to leave somebody behind because you never know when somebody's going to flip.
Yeah.
But speaking of flipping, May 2020, I took a buddy of mine, and we were about a mile into the stretch that Eric and I are going to do next week. And he had 2 spin cast rods and cooler and some baits. And I told him, I said, hey, watch out for this curve up here. There's a tree right there. You might want to go around it. Well, he was floating backwards, not paying attention, flipped, and lost his fishing pole.
Oh.
Both fishing poles. And I had 3 bait casters, and I was like, hey, do you want one of these? He said, I can't really throw a bait caster. And I was like, okay, I'll tighten the brakes down for you, and we'll figure something out. He said, no, I'm good. I'm good. And I proceeded for the next 9 hours to have the best day of fishing of my life.
Oh, no.
While he followed along. Joe, if you're listening, I'm sorry. And I've got a picture where I'm holding up three good smallmouths, and that was just like the first half of the trip. And it was one after another. I was calling my shot, and I was like, oh, there's one right there, I bet.
Oh, you're Babe Ruth in it all the way down the river.
Yep. So
calling it out.
One of the best days I've ever had on that creek, and my buddy had to watch me for 9 hours.
He's your hype man at that point.
Yeah.
It's what it feels like to have your own like cameraman, right? You like made it. Someone's just watching you, taking photos.
It would make things so much easier not to have to film yourself.
Right? Or edit or do all that stuff out of there.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I love it. What's Lost in Tackle? He said, I think Itching the Fish said, if you wear it, it won't be uncomfortable. That's true. I like it. Rocket City Astro says, what's a good life jacket brand that is comfy and not overpriced?
So what I got, some people at work got me a gift card for Cabela's, and that's what I ordered this with. I think it was around $50. It's Cabela's, but it's the Stolquist.
Yep,
I know,
yep.
I know it's going to be backwards, but Stolquist, and I think Cabela's is just branding over it. I'd like to. What's the nice brand?
NRS.
The Chinook. I really want to get a Chinook, I think, one day. But this one is kind of shaped like that. It's got the low profile, and it's comfortable to sit. There's not much flotation on the back. It's pretty flat and thin, so you're sitting back on your seat, pretty flat, and it's not really getting in the way. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I'll answer this too, and I think I'm gonna parallel a little bit what Gramps is saying in the comment section. When there's things to invest in, overpriced, you get what you pay for, right? And when you're dealing with stuff like this, I ended up, the NRS Chinook's going to run you around 140 and get some deals on it. And like you said, the back floats in the upper top, which I don't particularly love because I kind of recumb it on my pedal kayak, and that always just drove me nuts when I shoved that up against my back. For paddle kayaks, it's not a big deal. A lot of people like it. But the Raku, which is what I have, I like it because they've taken that high back float that's kind of up around the upper part of your neck, right below your neck. And they've taken all of that flotation and kind of thinned it out all the way down your back. And so the Chinook and the Raku are essentially the same exact thing on the front, with the only difference being kind of how that flotation on the back, they have to put it somewhere, right? Got to have so many, I forget what they call it. They can have so much flotation in your fishing kayak to make it legit. And so that's going to run you, man, the Raku is like coming up on $200, but they're freaking awesome, right? They're made out of high quality. Actually, if you're interested in the Raku kind of run through, if you're like, hey, I'd be kind of interested in that. I actually did a video on it, so you can check that out. We're not going to head over there a little bit, but what does Gramps have to say? No such thing as overpriced. You get what you pay for, and your life is worth it. I get it. And so at the end of the day, just get one and wear that bad boy. Itching to Fish, NRS Chinook. I know a lot of people have a Chinook, back backwards. Chinook is great. Bending, ballistics, buy once, cry once when it comes to buying quality life jacket.
You only need to get it once, right? And they're made to last. So
yeah, for sure.
All right.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I had a video where I'm standing in the water. I'm like 6 inches of water, and some guy commented on one of my videos like, "Oh, I'm glad you're wearing your life jacket so you don't drown in 6 inches of water." I made a reply video to him too, about always wearing it. What I didn't do is I wanted to film myself wearing it to work, wearing it to the gas station, wearing it to the grocery store, like 5, 6, 7 places where I'm wearing a life jacket out in public, and then being like, oh, it does come off. I didn't know you could even take it off, but I didn't ever put that much time into it. I just did a little um, simple reply video to him. So
Yeah. It's I when it comes to people like that, and I probably get anywhere from 50 to 80 comments a day coming in through the channel. And of course, they're not all going to be positive. Some of them, usually they start with bro. You kind of know it's coming whenever they start with bro, and then they say their comment. um, but yeah, at one point I'd take all those comments that came in, people kind of feeling like they're like troll comments, I'll call them, and I used to pin them as my number one comments, so everyone else can read how much of a tool bag they are.
yeah,
I stopped doing that. I didn't think that was kind of nice, but for a
one of the
while I
guys,
did that.
one of the guys, like when I commented back, he kind of came back and said something else, like, "Oh, you can't even take a joke, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Man, I'm joking back with you. Your comment was funny. I'm joking back. I just happened to make a video of your comment." So we went back and forth a few times. It was pretty fun.
Bass Backward says, people ask me all the time if I can swim and they see me wearing my, that's the most ridiculous thing. You don't need a life jacket when you can swim, folks. It's when you can't. And when it hits the fan, it happens fast. Like you think, well, I'm a good swimmer, I don't need to wear it. That's horrible logic. Anyways, let's move away from that. Let's head over here to, so we talked about safety. Let's talk about like moving water and fishing, right? What are the nuances of fishing, and let's geek out a little bit. So you hop in your kayak, you got fast water, you got slow water. Where are you looking for the fish? Where are you always casting? What's your high percentage areas? What lure, line for the river, your setups? I want to hear it all. Geek out on us.
All right. As far as I typically do anywhere from 6 to 10 miles, and I try to pace myself about a mile an hour. So that's a good fishing pace. I do fish pretty fast. I love fishing topwater, especially like mid-May to September. And that way I can cover water. I'm moving fast. I don't have to stop, and I don't spend 45 minutes on one spot and then have to make up time paddling.
Right.
I'll take this and I'll throw it over trees. I'll throw it over rocks. Anywhere there's an obstruction in the water, smallmouth love current. So if you find a good current seam, they sit right outside the current. So if you see quick water next to slack water, sometimes the water will have an eddy coming back. There's water actually moving back upstream. They're sitting there and they're watching for food coming down. So if
Real
you can,
quick,
go ahead.
you said something, but for those on the podcast, what were you showing?
That's a river to sea whopper plopper.
That's a 90, right?
That's a 90.
Bone, is that correct?
Yep, that's
Color?
my favorite color, and I've got a bluegill that I use kind of midday. If Brandon's on here, he one of my videos, I said I think I might throw the whopper plopper here in a little bit, and he's like, throw the bone. I was like, I might do a bluegill because I like the bluegill, he liked the bone, and he's always pushing me to throw the bone, and it's become my new favorite color. He'll probably slap me for giving away the secrets, but it's in all my videos. You can see it. So
No, it's the juice. I've seen a lot of people swear by the river to sea 90 whopper popper bone. I mean, just kills it. Kills it. All right, what else you got?
Besides the whopper plopper, I'm throwing a jig in the slower, deeper water. There's slow, deep water with a cliff or big rocks or something like that. I'm
When you
throwing a
say
jig.
slower, deeper water, like what are you talking about? Give us some.
There's a rock bluff where I showed you that picture earlier, and it's probably 15, 16 foot through that area. It's wider. It's wider than the creek, and it's where it kind of slows down. So there's a lot of current upstream. It hits this part. It's a lot deeper. It's moving pretty slow. You can paddle upstream fairly easy on it. I've got these are I think Strike King jigs, 3/8 ounce. Something. I don't fish anything real big. If we fish lakes and stuff, I'll fish a 1/2 ounce jig. But the chigger crawl trailers typically what I throw on those.
There you go.
I do a lot of flukes.
Flukes. Yeah.
If you look at my tackle box, there's a lot of green and browns. There's not a whole lot of fancy colors. I fish a lot of clear water, so watermelon, green pumpkin. Pretty much everything in here is watermelon, green pumpkin. I love throwing a shaky head. I used to not tell anybody about these either. Whenever Eric and I first started fishing, I was like, don't say nothing. But the missile D-bombs.
Yeah. Cruise.
I love
He's actually
those.
one of the anchors of the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. The owner, I forget I know his last name's Cruz, but what's his first name? Shoot, I know everyone's getting ready to post it here, especially
Owner
Gramps.
of Missile.
Yeah.
Oh, hook me up, man. I'm
Okay.
getting low.
Hey, if you win, you can meet the man. You can hook
Uh,
yourself up. We'll see what happens. All right. I forget I can go over to Fishing Chaos right now and figure it out. But anyways, Missile Baits he owns it. He's a professional angler. So, anyways, keep going. John Cruz. Thank you, Aaron Akers.
and recently I've started throwing some Ned rigs with the Nico crawls, and some of the Helgramites. You know, those are pretty big right now. And actually, last time I went, we were flipping some rocks and found some live Helgramites.
Ooh, come on now.
And wanted to pick up those, but I was fishing a tournament, so we didn't. But we did find some. I might look for some whenever Eric and I go this weekend. So.
And these things are awesome. When I go to Pennsylvania, we flip, and you know they're hard to come by, but when you do, they last you like 4 or 5 smallmouth, and they just always get eaten. I was recently in the middle of Indiana. I was with True North Outdoor Adventures. We're doing some creek fishing, which actually the last video I had posted. So for those of you who watched it, we were using the Nico leech, and I can tell you what, he had this leech on. I don't know, it was about this long. And he told me he's on fish like number 75 with that one Nico leech.
They are super durable.
It is insane. 75 smallmouth.
I usually break them off before I lose them off.
Right. You break your line.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy. And so if you're looking for a good quality creek or river bait that you're not going to lose every 5 seconds.
Just don't leave them out on your tackle box in the sun, because they don't like the heat as much as some of these other soft plastics. They'll melt together in a hurry.
And they don't play well with others, so don't store them with any others. They'll melt pretty fast, and they bleed the colors. Even if you have like same type of baits, if you put them together, they'll bleed. Like we're talking an hour, and they'll bleed the colors together. So keep that in mind. Anyways, what else you got?
As far as what I'm looking for in the water, like I said, anything with a rock or my best luck here lately on a couple of particular creeks is covered with trees down in the water. And when you go, the water is about this much over the majority of the trunk of the tree, and it's just perfect for that whopper plopper to come right across the top of it. You come across the top, maybe pause it there just for a second, and they will come out and smash it. I mean, it's fun just when they blow up. It's like you're at SeaWorld and Shamu's splashing everybody.
So what's the line you use? I know Andy Yak Angler uses mono when he fishes.
I've seen that. I've always had better luck with 30-pound braid.
Okay.
I don't feel like
clear water using braid. All right.
Yep. I've got green braid on my rod right now that I'm gonna use Thursday. And I don't know. I've not tried. Everything else I fish is fluoro, and I haven't fished mono a whole lot. But the twist that the whopper plopper will do, if you don't, sometimes I'll put a swivel on it, because if a hook gets tied up, it'll start flopping and it'll twist your line up really bad. It doesn't affect the braid as much. That's one reason I like to use it. But 30-pound braid, and when they blow up on it, then I set the hook pretty hard on some of them. Some people just kind of pull back, but I react to it pretty good and just keep them pinned and dig. You don't have to worry about breaking off. Just keep tension on your line. You don't really have to play them out too much. I like it when they pull drag, because then you usually have a pretty good one.
Oh yeah, and you got a great video because everybody loves the sound of that drag ripping.
Yeah, and as far as video too, I think the top water is so much more interesting because you see it happen versus I've got a couple videos where you can see my line twitch, but that's not nearly as cool as just a smallmouth coming up and just busting all the way out of the water. It's so exciting. I love it.
So anything else that you have hooked up that you haven't talked about yet? Like, what do you have hooked up right now? Is it all the things you just chatted about? Is there something you're keeping from us? Usually there's like this, there's this bait that everybody loves, and I'll share everything with you except for that. Do you have one of those? Or share Itching the Fishes. I don't care. You can share his secret lore. That's fine with me too.
Sexy mouse spinnerbait.
What?
That's the color. It's a sexy mouth spinnerbait, and
Put it in
that's
front of your
what
shirt. There we go. Now
that
we see it. Okay.
that's Eric kills it on this, and I've caught one fish on this, and it makes me so mad because that's another a bait that you can fish while you're moving. So the whopper plopper, you're kind of constantly dragging it with you.
Right.
A lot of times, if you try to fish a worm in current, the current's too swift. Even if you use a heavier weight, it just rushes it right past you. But I fish a lot of when I fish a fluke, I'll put it on a weighted hook.
Oh yeah,
There's
the
a
owner.
weight in the belly, and that's something you can cast out, and then you can let it sit. It's kind of fluttering in the water. You can adjust yourself with your paddle, or if you need to get around a branch, and then you can reel it a little bit, and then get around the next obstacle. So something that's kind of got you a little bit hands free, that you're not constantly having to feel for a bite. That's why it's tough to fish a jig in the kayak, because you're constantly having to keep your line tension and you're
Right.
feeling for any little peck. I like fishing stuff that leaves you a little bit hands free. It's a little bit more forgiving. You can, fish as you move. You don't have to stay consistent with it. You can kind of cast it out and then get situated. So a lot of that stuff helps. And then I love fishing the whopper plopper because you're power fishing. You're going down through there. You see something looks good, you cast. If you don't get something, you can hit it again. And you're just covering water. You're making up time. 10 miles takes 10 hours. I think I spent on that 10-mile stretch. We were out there last time we went like 12 and a half hours.
Oh wow.
So by the end of it, you're pretty worn out. So, but if you sat on one spot for an hour, you're making it 13 hours. Or
Right. You got to keep moving.
yeah, got to cover water, and that's why I always tell everybody is try to keep pace with me. If you get in, and I was talking to my buddy about this today. Is like, if you get in front of me, I subconsciously am like thinking of a way to get in front of you, because the front man on the creek is always going to catch
All the
the,
aggressive,
the
hungry
all the
fish.
all the easy fish are going to come first. So I purposefully have to say, hey, you go up ahead. I'm going to fish this out, or you fish this left side. I'll fish this right side. The left side looks better. You should try that.
Yeah.
And then normally they'll if they get hung up or something, I'm scooting right up in front of them to get back up in front. So I try to be courteous, but sometimes my reflexes and stuff takes over, and I'm after that next thing.
No, I hear you. I'd have to say I'm the same. People probably hate fishing with me because I'm always like, I mean, first the fish is a thing, right? That's why you want to be, if you fish on a bass boat, you want to be on the front of the boat, not picking up seconds. But nonetheless, I got some questions here from the listeners. Lost and Tackle said, "This question for you: will the swivel help some of my budget square bills? What do you think?" The barrel swivel.
Probably. I think crankbaits are going to be affected a little bit by that swivel.
Mm,
Just the way it puts that weight in the nose, just a little bit of weight can kind of throw those things off a little bit. Um, the whopper plopper, it kind of makes it a little bit nose heavy, but I'm typically burning it fast enough to kind of keep it planed out on top. Um,
So your gear ratio is what, 7, 8? You're pulling those quick.
Most of my stuff's like 6'3", 6'5".
6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Right on. Itching fish. What about the twerk minnow? What's this going on?
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Itch, what are you talking about?
That's probably
But
some as seen on TV thing he's been watching.
he's watching the banjo minnow version ones and
Oh,
twos. Itchin
he
said, "Dude, not my spinnerbait. You
yeah.
shared the juice. You guys are gonna be in
He
trouble."
he talks about it all the time. It's okay.
I love it.
Eric, text me if I really did mess up. I'll buy you something for Thursday, or I'll share my new secret with you that I haven't told anybody about.
Oh, come on. No. You can't tease
No,
it
I
out
don't.
there and not share it with us.
When we go Thursday, I'm gonna throw that bone water plopper 90% of the day. And
Yeah.
I will say, most people are like, "Oh, top water in the morning, top water in the evening." Throw that thing all day. My biggest fish come 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon or
There you go.
morning, late morning, early afternoon. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I like to go to that bluegill when the sun gets high. I seem to do better on it. But my buddy Brandon's got me convinced on this bone color. So
Guys, there's all kinds of truth bombs in what he's saying here. If you pick it apart, all kinds of goodies in there to help you become better angler. So this is Southern Flow. If you're coming in halfway through the show, I've noticed we're up to, I'm showing 68 total, and we're polling from like 5 different Twitters and YouTubes and Facebook. So thank you so much. Last week we're talking about baits and like juicy baits. I shared with everyone. I went on a 4-day fishing trip with two other guys. We caught like 200 bass, which is nice over a period of those. Some, they were coming in and out and they had things to do, but nonetheless, over 200. And I pulled out the new Yamatanuki from Yamamoto Baits. And I can't tell you what, that thing slayed. I went through all of them. I wish I had like 5 packs of them because I would have fished them all the time. You throw them out there, it's almost like a scat bait. And I can't tell you, I was throwing the wacky, and of course, was catching a ridiculous amount of bass on it. And it's catching some good ones too, 17 and a half, 16s. But when I started throwing that Yamatanuki on a 5/0 hook, that thing absolutely killed it whenever the wacky worm would not. And so if you're looking for something new to try out, I believe I even posted on my community page. They were selling like $3 packs of 5/0 hooks from Gamakatsu for $3 a pack. I don't know if they're still doing that, but they're doing it on Amazon. And they're even giving away like free $1.50 credits, digital credits, if you did it on like a delivery day. So not sure if that's happening or if they're still offering that. But if you're looking for some cheap 5/0 quality hooks with the Yamatanuki, want to try a new bait? Beautiful.
Hey,
all right, what do you got for us? You got something going over here.
I think on one of your shows you were talking about the Berkeley gilly, the little bluegill.
Yeah, I tried it. I hate it so far. Tell me what you got with it.
I bought some and I haven't used them.
Okay. I tried one this past week, but the action's tough. I had to shove a nail in it just to get it to stay upright. And I'm still trying to figure. I was fishing super clear water, bluegill were everywhere. They just weren't hitting on it. So I put it away. I'll bring it back out later, but we'll see what happens.
I don't have it in my box, but I love the 6th Sense Vega frog. It's like a popper frog. It's got the popper mouth on it.
Oh yeah.
But it's got some pretty good action. I use that in ponds and stuff we fish, and that they'll really blow up on those too.
Yeah.
The big tip with the frog is to bend the hooks out a little bit.
There you go.
Where they're not flush against the back. I had a lot of trouble on hookup ratio with frogs and never could get them hooked. And you take some pliers and bend that hook up to where you can slide your finger and just barely touch that hook, and it's a game changer.
Yeah, this past weekend, I don't like really top water frog fishing, so I bought the Z-Man Pop Frogs and put them on an owner weighted hook, like you just showed a second ago. And so basically they sink and the tails, their legs kind of go crazy. You can kind of pull them under the water, like 1 foot under the water. I can tell you what, bass were actually losing their minds on that. Between the wacky worm, the Yamatanuki, and those pop frogs with a owner weighted hook, they were killing it in Northeast Ohio and really clear water. Of course, all GP, green pumpkin. But man, all right, we have. We're gonna do some last minute questions here. We're coming up on the hour, but I want to head over to. I want to give away a $100 gift card, so I'm going to share my screen over here. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and do some final questions that I got for you. All right, so this, if you entered, let me see here. Boom, y'all should be able to see it now. If you entered, oh, it's not showing it, is it? Can you guys see the wheel of names anywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, you can see that?
Yep.
All right. All right, so if you entered the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, and just entered, you didn't even have to catch anything. If you're just like, hey, I'm signing up, your name is on this wheel, and it's a randomizer. I just went online, I shoved in all the names, and so I'm going to click it, and whoever this lands on will get a $100 gift card to castcray.com. It's kind of thank you for entering it. I'm doing this every single month. And so if you want to sign up for next month, this month, you can still hop in anytime during the month. If you want to try that out. And I'm giving away $100 gift cards every month. And so here we go. Are you ready? See who gets it. It is. Oh, it keeps going. Eric Barzak, my man, congratulations. I'll get a hold of you after the show. You just won a $100 gift card to
awesome, Eric.
Congratulations. So yeah, so thank you guys so much. It's a lot of fun. I want to thank Rick over at castcray.com, helped me out providing that. And he's got a bunch of cool stuff over there. He lives there down the road from me. He just opened up a new shop this past weekend, a store you can go into. All of his soft plastics are handmade here in the USA. I'm not pro staff. I'm no nothing. I'm just use some of his stuff and it's quality. So Thank you. Yes. So let's head over here. Got a couple more questions for you. Oh man, I have like 1,000 questions we didn't even get to tonight. If you have a question for Tyler, go ahead and throw that in the comment section. We'll kind of end on those. But tell us here, what should we expect in 2023 from
Some kayak camping trips.
you? All right.
I'm going to try to do some kayak camping. I really like what Eric does in his videos, and he kind of talks about his gear, and he kind of, you know, has these cool knick-knack things that he takes camping, and he can charge all his batteries for his camera and stuff like that. So I kind of want to go through, do some like power pole detail videos of how I use it, where I use it. Hopefully you'll see me talk more. It's something I'm working on. It's just been kind of fishing, kind of filling out, what I'm going to say and that kind of stuff. So maybe teaching a little bit. I noticed the videos where you teach something or you talk about how to seem to do very well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just trying to, you know, I like kayak camping. I like going 2 days. I want to try to do the entire Buffalo River in Tennessee. So I want to start in Holmesville, Tennessee, and do 120 miles. Not all at the same time. There's some guys that do it in like 13 days. But I
Oh
want to
wow.
do it. I want to do it in sections and document each day. Whether I do a 1 day trip or an overnight, or hopefully get a 2 night or a 3 night trip in sometime. I've got 3 young kids, so it's gonna be hard to do. But I would love to kind of document that journey to do from Summertown, Tennessee, all the way up to New Johnsonville.
Oh wow. All right.
Um,
What is this?
so
Everyone keeps talking about the stutter. This is like the third time I've seen it. What's this all about? More talk, less stutter. What is this?
I was given a presentation for work one time, and I had to say the word centrifugal for a
Oh yeah,
compressor,
you
air
nailed it just
compressor.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was in front of like 45 people, and I said centrifugal, and I could not get it out. And some old guy was like, centrifugal, and I was like, yes. And then I continued on with what I was doing. So that's what she's talking about there. It's a
Um,
inside joke with us.
no, I love it. You kind of when I first started, and yeah, I don't know. I don't hear it as much because as you edit your videos, but I used to have a huge stutter, and I probably even do still to some degree, especially when you put yourself out there in the camera the first times. And one of the funniest troll comment I ever received was I had a guy. All he wrote on one of my videos was "White Mike Tyson." That
No,
is my favorite. I started actually keeping like a side like document of all the troll comments that
you
I
should make
ever
something back
had.
that says like "Mama told me to knock you out" or something. And
I love it. Bucktail Fishing says that reminds me. Oh, Cascade, big shout out as soon as I get back to my accounts. They really knocked out of the park over one of my last orders. So right on. That's awesome. Man, Rick's business kind of growing up. He had like 1,000 orders this past week, and
nice.
I've fished a lot of his stuff. Had a lot of great success on the square billies, the pearl ghost, and the green hollow crawl. If you guys are looking at something, but I've kind of hung those up. I shared last week. Kind of hang my square bills up, heading in more finesse fishing, especially in the lakes and ponds up here in Northeast Ohio. But anything else you got for us, brother? Any other juice?
Nothing else to share. Just tune in. Maybe you'll pick up something. If I find something new, I'll send it to you.
Well, really quick. Well, how do you identify your places, kind of the creek fish, right? So you got a lot. I even seen a comment by Outdoor for Change. He's like, I live in the state of 1,000 lakes. Tennessee, you guys got rivers and creeks everywhere. So how are you identifying? Is it you just putting in the work, going to Google, or you just making a bunch of friends, or you kind of been doing this whole life? How if someone wanted to get into it for the first time, what would you recommend?
I think it helps because I grew up here. I grew up fishing here, so I know, over the past 30 years what has worked. But I'm always excited to find a new spot. I went to a new place last year and caught a 20-inch smallmouth in one of the
Jeez.
smallest creeks that I've fished in a long time. Super narrow section. It was very exciting. So a fish like that in a water that small was pretty rare. I love getting on Google Maps, Google Earth, and trying to find access points in and out. I'll map out, 5, 10, 15 miles, what I can do, where I can camp, all those things. You just got to get out, drive by, find a bridge, and try to go down there and see what it looks like. Wait it, first, find a place to get out, take a buddy and park a truck and take your kayaks up and drop out. Um, yeah, Google Maps is a tool, but you still got to get out and fish it and see
Right.
what's out there. And just because you don't catch something the first time you went doesn't mean it's not the greatest creek that you've been to. So
Right.
give
All
it
right,
a
I guess
second
we're not
shot. At
done.
least give it a second shot.
Right. I guess we're not done. I got another question. I kind of everyone's like, "Oh, he's landing and playing the show." I'm not, because I'm going to open up a can of worms here. Because I'm curious on Tennessee law when it comes to creek fishing, and because this is just a fascinating. Not a lot of people actually know the regulations for the state. So Ohio, I know the regulation. I was actually looking up today, and I've had it confirmed that if you're floating down, Ohio owns all the creeks and waterways, and so in Ohio. And so if you're floating down on a kayak, you're good to go. And if you entered the navigable waters from a public place and you're getting out at a public place, you're good to go. However, the second you step foot on the bottom of that creek, you're on private property. And so there is like a kind of a nuance to it. If you come to a tree across the way, you can get in the water or go around it, but you got to
Yep.
do it quickly and not to disturb, private property, all that stuff. So there is kind of like a caveat to it. Is it any different in Tennessee than it is Ohio, or is it the same?
The way I understand it, that's how it is. It's the exact same. If you're floating, you're on public property. If you're
Yep.
touching the ground, you're in private property. There's actually a waterfall, Burgess Falls, and it's a state park. And so a lot of people, you can kayak to it or you can walk to it from the park. Well, people kayak to it, and they can have alcoholic beverages on the water. But if they ever step foot on the ground, then they can get cited for having alcohol in a state park. So you got to be careful out there, all you Burgess Falls fans.
Do they actually pick people off doing that?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But I will say, a couple trips, and Eric was with me on one of them. If you meet somebody on the water, that we were stopped at one spot, and this guy came down, and we were kind of looking for a place to camp. I can usually find a secluded place, and don't leave trash. If somebody lets you park in their driveway, pick up the trash, or if somebody has a public launch, pick up some trash. They see you do that, they're never gonna have a problem with you with stopping by there. But this guy came down and said, "Oh yeah, we're looking for a place to camp. Would you care if we camped here tonight?" And he's like, "No, we're hunting in the morning. I can't do that. I lease this place. I don't own it, so I can't let you do that." "Oh, okay, yeah, I understand. That's fine." And then as we were leaving, he was like, "Hey, if you got a phone number, I could probably let you camp out here sometime, just not tonight." So I got his number. So I'll text him sometimes when we go, and it happened again towards the end. Made pretty good friends with him. Just have a conversation, tell them how nice their spot is, and just if they see you, like there's a place we park. There's an old tree next to a cemetery, and it says, "Yes, you can park here." And so every time I stop there, there's trash everywhere. So I always try to pick up a little bit of trash. And I actually ran into the owner a couple months ago, and the sign was gone. And I said, "Hey, you used to have a sign that said you could park here beside the creek, and I was just wondering if that was okay." "Oh yeah, it's fine, it's fine." And I was telling her, I was like, "Yeah, every time I stop, I try to." She's like, "I was gonna put a trash can out there," and I was like, "If you do that, they're still gonna throw it on the ground." But she was all good with it. So yeah, just strike up a conversation and don't ask for permission right away. Be friendly first, and it's worked pretty good for me here recently. So, or take your 4-year-old and your 2-year-old or your 5-year-old with you. Nobody wants to say no to a kid.
Oh no. Heck
And
no.
I may or may not have used my kids to get permission to fish some ponds.
If you would ask if I don't own a private lake, but if I did and you came and asked me, I might tell you no. I don't know. But if you came with your kids, absolutely. Get in here. So
Yeah. They're a game changer.
You made a comment. I thought it was an observation. I mean, public access points for fishing spots across the nation are slowly dwindling, right? And whenever we do have them, leaving the trash on the ground is not helping anybody, right? I'm not saying you were doing it, but I'm not saying that even anybody listening to the show is doing it. I'm saying if you see it, just take a couple extra seconds and pick it up, right? Because that could be the difference between a frustrated landowner who is out of the goodness of his heart allowing you to access water, shutting it down, right? And just they're becoming less and less available. So just something to think about. I know I come up on trash all the time. Freaking worm containers everywhere. Why can't anybody can remember to pick up their worm container whenever they're done?
Or just fish artificial.
I don't I don't understand. The creek crawler. He said my dad used me multiple times.
Hey,
I
I
love it.
saw him. I've been watching him for a little while. Creek Crawler, you got some good stuff, man. I enjoy watching your stuff, and I went back and watched the video where he was on here, just to kind of see what you've been doing lately. So that was pretty good, man.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed he was so close to winning last month, and he was putting up some monster smallmouth, and I think some largies too. Unfortunately, some of his larger fish got DQ'd, or I don't know, he might have won. I'm not sure, but that's just how it works, I guess. But all right, folks. Well, thank you so much, Tyler, my man. If you haven't done so yet, please head over to his Instagram and YouTube, are kind of the two places you're at, right? For the most part.
Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
TikTok, there you go. And it's all Southern Flow. They can find you there.
Yeah, YouTube is Southern Flow. The other two are Southern Flow TN
All right.
for
All right.
Tennessee.
So check them out. Thank you guys so much for listening in. We're going to be here next week. I got Larry Melton Jr. coming on the show. And so you've probably seen some of his stuff if you're out there on the YouTube. 120,000 subscribers. And actually one of the team makers for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. So pumped to have him on. Thank you all so much. Please help me out. Get a like on your way out. Hit that like button. Help get this show a little bit more further replay. See you next time, next Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Thanks, guys.
See you, man.